Keeping your eyes closed, look into yourself. Imagine your vision is turned inward into your body. What do you see? Do you see emptiness? Do you see light? The light of consciousness? Do you feel your own sense of presence in that vacuum inside? Your own life force, the I am. Can you find an I? The one that says, I ate lunch, or I hate you, or I love you. Can you find that I? If you can, tell me about it. I've never found it. There ain't no I. And yet we're still here, witness to the world, to consciousness. What a paradox. That chanting was something else. Mind blowing. I think I'm going to convert, become a follower of what's his name? Shit, with that kind of chanting. Who needs anything else except Lakshmi here? Hi, Lakshmi. You know, Robert used to say all the time, who am I? Referring to himself and how other people saw him. That chanting really made me fucking happy. Ecstatic. I'm just blissed out now after that chant. And you know, he used to say, um, "I am who you think I am, or what you think I am." He recognized that people never saw the world, and we never see each other. We see through the concepts with the mind, mental concepts. We don't see the world as children or as babies, through a maze and a network of concepts. Besides the concepts we see of a chair and of a cat, of a computer and lights, there are other processes that take place when we see somebody else. For example, projections. A lot of stuff we don't see in ourselves, we project into another person. Sometimes for safekeeping, sometimes we don't allow ourselves to feel our love for one reason or another because it was stifled when we were young, whatever the reason. So we project it somewhere into somebody we think is safe. And then we yearn for that person, for our own love back. Sometimes we project rage because we don't want to be known as rageful. So somebody else becomes the holder of our rage, and we avoid them like the plague. Same with any other feeling. Envy, jealousy. We project in the other person and we see it there in them and not in ourselves. And then there's a process called projective identification. We see it in the other person, and it allows us to see it in ourselves. We want to be with that person so we can see our own love and all of our other feelings, the affects like jealousy, hatred, anger. We get to re-own portions of ourself, the emotional parts of us as humans. So there's two processes. We see through mental concepts, like Robert was looked at as a guru, and we have concepts about what a guru is. A guru is this, a guru is that. A guru is a vessel of God. A guru is all good. A guru never swears. A guru is never angry. He has non attached love for everybody. He's perfect. He never makes a mistake. True, that's me. I have to accept the label. But also, then, there are the projections. Maybe a guru is safe to project love into or anger because that's a special category. The third process that comes up when we deal with somebody else is our own repressions. The more we love someone, the more the flip side begins to appear. Not right away. Usually, we know in relationships, love relationships, the first 3 to 6 months are A-OK. And the shit hits the fan. All the negative stuff comes up. Jealousy, envy, rage, you name it, hatred. A lot of people refer to this as shadow work in the psychoanalysis. You work on the dark side of yourself. And boy, some of you have real dark sides, unlike me. And Robert, he was perfect. We're perfect. So when Robert was saying, I am what you think I am, he was talking about all of those processes. Seeing Robert as the guru, whatever that means for you. Projecting into him whatever they thought they needed, or were trying to hide from themselves, or trying to put into him for safekeeping, or trying to project into him. They could see it in him and then find it in themselves and find it where otherwise they wouldn't have been able to find it. Projective identification. And then the process of bonding with love. The relationship gets deeper and deeper. You get more and more trusting. You know, the first 3 dates you're out with somebody, you don't say, you're fucking nuts. You hold that back for a few months till you know they're hooked. Then you can start feeding out all the bad shit. You walk on eggshells until maybe month 6 after you've moved in together. It's a little harder to get out of that relationship right away. That's when the zingers start coming out. The control, the jealousy, the envy, the bickering, the fighting over little things. Who's in control? Before that, you're so gracious, so very gracious. Oh, you do this, please. You can do that. What would you want me to do for you? So sweet, so loving. And then in month 7 or month 8, the shit comes out. So, who is Ed Musica? And since there are maybe 30 people out there looking at me, there's 30 different views of Ed Musica, I'm sure. And some of you who are more schizophrenic, there may be two or three simultaneous views of who Ed Musica is, including me. So, in an effort for clarification, I'm going to tell you how I see myself so that we can all get on the same page. Because who better than me can tell who I am? Being the guru, I must be truthful at all times, right? Isn't that part of it? I must be honest. I must have great insight. And I'm closer to me than anybody else here. So let's all coordinate around my concept of me, and we'll all be on the same page in the future with no conflict, okay? When I looked within me, start the inside first. I see emptiness, and it's filled with light, the light of consciousness. The emptiness is everywhere. It starts inside my body, contains my heart, my head, the bottom of my body, my legs, stretches out and goes into space around me. It's dark, but it's also lighted. I feel very peaceful and very happy, very loving, especially after that wonderful chanting. I feel a little bit of muscle tension in my back because of the way I'm sitting. But essentially, that's how I see myself from the outside. Some of you can feel that. You tell me that you can feel the emptiness in me. You're actually feeling the emptiness in you. It resonates. But if I look at myself objectively, like I'm looking at this picture here, and this is where we have to coordinate. I see a very handsome man with glasses, about 30 years old, 6 feet 8, about 200 pounds, 20-inch biceps, a heart of gold. Profanity never goes through these lips. Sarcasm never passes these lips. Look how gentle he is with animals. He's such a lover. Never cross, never angry. Just like Robert. A paragon. A veritable Ramana. Okay, now we've got that. We have that down. But you understand, it's all bullshit. This is all bullshit. The way we see each other, we never really see each other until you've known each other for a couple of years. And even then, you persist in not knowing the other person. And also, you change in relationships. What was positive one month is negative the next month. What is seen one month is not seen the next month. And with somebody like Robert, you could be with him for 9 or 10 years and still be learning what emptiness is like. Because the emptiness gets deeper and deeper and deeper. Well, at least Lakshmi likes me. Now, who are you? Who are you? If you look inside yourself, is that how you find out who you are? If you close your eyes and look inside, what you see there, is that real? That emptiness? Or is the world revealed to you when your eyes are open? Is that real? My first realization, and that now shared by every neo Advaitin under the moon. I looked into me and found no I, and that collapsed the mental structure, and there was only oneness. The inside space was the same as the outside space. The inside space that contained the emotions such as love, anger, and all the thinking and concepts was exactly the same as the room full of objects that surrounded me. But my mind had imposed order and form on that external room. I no longer saw it as an infant would, just blur of colors, intensity, and infants are like this. And we're not, we see, we relate to it. Our mind has imposed order on it. You can always tell an enlightened person, they go like big eyes, like Robert. I'm just kidding. Other concept. But just because we don't find an I when we look inside of ourselves, does anybody really expect to find an I? That us is that easy? You just look inside of yourself for 30 seconds in your imagination because you have no eyes inside. There's no organ of inner seeing there. It's all done in the imagination. I, in my imagination, look into where my body might be if my eyes were open and I had some internal vision. But these eyes can only see that cat's face. So in my imagination, I turn my attention inward and see that emptiness inside. And I look around, and in that presence, in that emptiness, I see no I can find no I. Well, shit. Who said the I exists as a form or an entity? People talk about an ego. And I guess people expect to find an ego when they look inside associated with the I. But what is the ego? Is it the I? So I can't find an I. I is just a word. There's no I when I look inside. And yet I can see you. I can have emotions towards you. I can tell you to go to hell. Eat my dust. Read page 39. I can interrelate with you. I can eat dinner with you. Watch you on a computer monitor. Talk to you. But what is that entity that's doing that? I don't see an I, but I'm still doing this. Just because there's no I does not mean that there's no one there. Your presence is there. Your intelligence is there. Your body is there. Your mind is there. Your emotions are there. Your intuition is there. But you can't see it. You can feel your emotions. You can feel your body. You can reach and touch your nose, cover your eyes, and you can't see anymore. You begin to put together a concept of a body mind, but it's still concept. But the reality is, you can't be known from the inside that easily at all. You can't do psychoanalysis by yourself by using some technique that you learn from some guru in Facebook, whether it's Byron Katie, who reverses your concepts, or some other stage magic where somebody takes you through a process like the release technique from Sedona, where you get rid of emotions or wants or desires by releasing them. That's only the surface. That only is what stuff comes up to the surface of the mind, your attention in the now. But to get to the deeper levels, what's in the unconscious, you need dreams, you need interpretations, intense dream work to uncover the unconsciousness, the id, so to speak, and the superego. They all come out in relationships and have to be interpreted. That's the way you learn. You can't do it by yourself. You can to a limited degree. We have to be very smart, like Freud was. Generally, you have to be in psychoanalysis for a long period of time to have the unconscious and all the conflicts revealed to you. But all of this stuff comes out in relationship anyway. Usually at an unconscious level, you act out all of the stuff that's hidden. And that's one way of bringing it to the surface in a relationship. A relationship like with a teacher, or not with a teacher, like with a therapist. You love the therapist and all this stuff starts coming out, and it's interpreted and held and talked about infinitum, and it's integrated into your personality and all that stuff. This is the Sufi way also, the way of working through affects and relationships. Or another way would be rooting out vasanas, the inherent tendencies we have as a body mind, whether they're genetic or buried unconscious stuff or archetypes of Jung. The mind, in the depths of the mind, is infinite. You can sit and meditate and go deep, deep and find various levels of mind that the ordinary person has never even dreamed of. The subtle body, the body of imagination, where you look inside yourself and you have this imagination of inner space, and it's all in the imagination. The imagination creates everything, either in the external world or the internal world. That's called the subtle body. This is where most of us live when we're not in the external world, in our daydreams, our dreams, our internal conversations we have with other people. I should have said that to Susie. Or this is what I think about Ralph. What an asshole this guy is. And that's all the inner talk that goes on as we analyze our feelings and we analyze other people. It's all kind of private little ballpark we're in. There's nobody else around there, just us. And we're playing with all of our inner concepts. Going deeper, you go into the causal body. Causal body is where you lose consciousness and you lose awareness. Not only do you become dumb as a rock, become unconscious as a rock. You become ignorant. All the knowledge goes. There's no knowledge anymore. No awareness. There are other levels of mind. All of this is standard stuff in Ramana and in Nisargadatta. You just have to read into it if you're interested in going deeper into the different levels of the mind. But I'm just trying to say it's not all revealed just by looking inside of yourself and finding no I. That's only the tip of the iceberg. Actually, the I am, that's an experience that Nisargadatta talks about. That is our sense of presence, our sense of being alive. And this gets expanded the more we interact with each other on a positive way. The more we can love another, the more we can love the guru, more we can love the student, more you can love your wife or husband or boyfriend, girlfriend. It pumps up that sense of presence. It puts love in there that brings that sense of presence alive. And that sense of presence becomes everything. It becomes the entire ballpark. The sense of presence grows. Our happiness grows along with it. The love grows. We begin to feel love flowing like a river through us, from our guts into our hearts, out through our heads and face, through our hands, fingers, into the external world, into somebody else. You become very sensitive of that person. You can even determine when that person is awake or asleep. Just the presence has become interpenetrated. A lot of people are developing these skills in our own satsang, our own sangha, I should say. Such a mystery all this is. And what do you mean by release and enlightenment? What do those concepts mean to you? These are biggies. What does Mamaji mean when she's going to be released? When she gets away from all this? Does she think that all of a sudden she's going to be dead and there's nothing more to do and it's ultimate rest? Or is she just not going to give a shit? Or is something else going to happen? Is her mind going to drop away? What happens if her mind drops away? So many concepts about enlightenment and awakening. That's what I tried to illuminate in other talks is the kind of bullshit there is about awakening and enlightenment and liberation. These are all just words. It's just getting to know yourself firsthand without the intermediation of mental concepts, to know yourself directly without the concepts. Now, some people, when the first awakening comes, even just seeing that there's no I, it's an extraordinary experience. Some people are shattered and it takes them years to get together. Like UG Krishnamurti, he went through huge transformations physiologically. Some people, it's no big thing, and their life begins to change slowly. Um, it's so different for so many people, depending on how long they've looked, what their personality makeup is, the intensity of their practice. Um, so many things. It can be like a big explosion, or it can be like, yeah, I guess so, right? There's no I, so what? But then, even after seeing that, we have to go deep, dive into ourselves, time after time after time, and be in relationship time after time after time to watch all the stuff come up and integrate all of that stuff that we growingly are. The more we meditate, the more empty we feel. But the more we're in relationship, the more stuff that comes up that we have to deal with. But because we are so much emptiness, it's so much easier to deal with than before you've discovered emptiness. You know, we think we are getting freer and freer of concepts, don't we? You come to satsang every week. I tell you about concepts. I tell you to screw the concepts to get rid of them. But we have so many, don't we? Matthew's too smart, so he has a lot of them too. Robert used to say, Ed, I, Ed, I wonder why you're not enlightened yet. And then he said, I finally figured it out. You're too smart. Because you have to become dumb like a rock, and it was hard for me to become dumb like a rock because I prided myself in my intelligence, my thinking, like Joan does, like Mama G does, like Edgy does. So let's go into some really, really, really uncomfortable concepts. Really uncomfortable concepts. Sex and the guru, love and the guru, love in a spousal relationship. You want to go there? How many are going to get pissed off and they know they're going to get pissed off no matter what is said? Raise your hand. How many have this concept so close to their heart? I think it was 7,812 years ago. All males got together at a big convention and they created this idea forevermore of marriage and faithfulness. Thou shalt not have any love for any other male once you tie the knot. That's cheating. However, gurus about 500 years ago had our own convention. And we said cheating is okay. We looked back to our examples of Krishna, who had 100 gopis around him at all times, who were madly in love with him, and he was madly in love with them, except for the chief gopi, the one he really loved, Radha, who belonged to another man. And that was a constant strain between her familial obligations and her heart and their love for each other. And then there's Shiva and Shakti, the Lord of the universe with the divine energy, the feminine energy. Constant sex. And take a look at all the gurus of our time. Maizumi Roshi, Sasaki Roshi, Muktananda. Over and over and over again, they're having sex with their students. Married students, unmarried, boys, girls, elephants, dogs, cats. I mean, they're very liberated people. And then other people say, my God, those gurus are awful. You stay away from them because all they want to do is get the girls in bed and take the money from the rich guys. This is one set of concepts of the guru. The other set of concepts of the guru is chaste. He's like Ramana Maharshi, or at least the idea we have of Ramana Maharshi, because none of us knew Ramana Maharshi. We have secondhand stories about Ramana Maharshi. But it's supposedly, since the time of Ramana, he's become the stand-in and the ideal of the perfect guru. But what about the Sufis? What about other cultures? It's in America there's such a fear of gurus and the impact that a guru or a spiritual teacher will have on their poor flock, like they're mindless and they're easily manipulated and controlled, and the guru has this absolute power over them. But then look at our Senate, our president. Shit, gurus do little damage compared with what those guys are doing. So look at that concept of faithfulness. That a woman once or a man. Once they tie the knot and make those vows to God, they are never, ever, ever, ever to change their mind. They are not allowed to grow. They're not allowed to mature. They're not allowed to change their mind. They're not allowed to love another. To love another in one's heart is cheating. It's adultery in the mind. That was one of the concepts that came up with that meeting of men 8,000 years ago. And Moses came along and changed it to just adultery, which was physical adultery. And he didn't say cheating in the mind there, or just thinking about it was a sin either. That came later. That came with what was the name of that king, King James? Just having the thought of cheating, of loving, of lust was itself a big sin that would kill you, send you to hell. And what do you think? Maizumi Roshi had affairs with many of his students, and he said because he could, women were there and they were available, and they gave himself. They were willing participants, and there was no 12-year-olds there or 14-year-olds like with Muktananda, supposedly. And even though that we don't know is true or what was going on in that relationship. And then we see through the eyes of the ordinary people out there that aren't in spirituality, that aren't used to all kinds of ways of growing and developing. They see a love relationship with the guru as an affair, just like anybody else. They don't realize that the care that I had, the love I had for Robert was transformative. If I had a female guru, I probably would have had erotic fantasies with her too. It's love that drives our whole search for freedom, for knowledge, for love of the other, for acceptance, for being seen, for approval. And as I've really found out, we don't choose who we love. And even though when we may have chosen who we loved 30 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 2 years ago, that doesn't mean we can choose who we love now. The love can come out even if there's no infidelity in the relationship. Love for the others can come out. It can't be stopped, especially once you're on the spiritual path. It comes out more and more. It gets deeper and deeper until you become love itself. And just the appearance of someone who's very open in front of you can elicit a kind of love reaction, a strong love reaction. Pretty soon you're cheating on yourself. If you love yourself, how can you not love everyone to a degree? So, how does this concept grab you? The guru and love. A lot of people are struggling with that, not only in this Sangha, but in every Sangha everywhere. The same thing with anybody. Any males, any females in a committed relationship. What about feelings outside of that relationship? As opposed to just actions outside of that, like infidelity, but just having love relationships, loving someone deeply, and the spouse getting insanely jealous, insanely controlling, or just insane. What do you think?